keep making music. I've been going 9 whole days. We're a new generation. 날아버린 운동화 다시 lace up.
7 years. One new boy group from SM. Does the legacy still stands? With everything to prove, RIIZE would have to answer all of it. The member reveal came in the summer of 2023. Just clean, direct introductions. By pulling Shotaro and Sungchan from NCT, SM established an immediate bridge to their existing fandom, while adding Unsuk, Sunghan, Wonbin, Sohee, and Anton. Just 7 members positioned as the next chapter in SM's boy group legacy. This was SM proving it could still produce a competitive boy group in an industry that had spent 7 years evolving without them. RIIZE stood for Rise and Realize. RIIZE officially debuted on the 4th of September 2023 with Get a Guitar, and the numbers came fast. The single album of the same name recorded over 1 million first-week sales, making them a million seller immediately upon debut, setting a high record for a rookie group's first-week sales. For context, that's higher than any NCT unit's debut, higher than EXO's debut numbers in 2012, and a clear signal that SM's rookie debut power hadn't diminished. The title track itself leaned into the emotional pop branding with an upbeat, guitar-driven sound, clean choreography that emphasized synchronization over complexity. Wonbin's center moments drew immediate attention, his visual presence becoming an instant talking point across social media. Shotaro's dance background gave the group a technical anchor, while Anton's deep voice added unexpected texture to the vocal line. The styling was polished but not overly conceptual. Just 7 members performing with the kind of precision SM groups are known for. The reception was strong but not without questions. Some fans appreciated the lighter sound. Others wondered if RIIZE was playing it too safe. Chart performance told a different story. Get a Guitar debuted on major Korean charts and entered iTunes charts in multiple countries. The group performed at KCON LA just weeks after debut, playing to a crowd that's already chanting the lyrics. First week sales alone put them in conversation with top-tier 4th and 5th generation groups. The debut proved SM could still launch a boy group with immediate commercial traction. But momentum is one thing, sustaining it is another. Less than 2 months after debut, RIIZE returned with Talk Saxy. The single dropped as part of their second single album, and the shift was immediate. Where Get a Guitar leaned bright and approachable, Talk Saxy brought attitude. The saxophone riff became the song's signature, cutting through the mix with a boldness that felt more confident than their debut. They were quickly outgrowing the rookie label. While Wonbin remained a focal point, members like Unsuk and Sungchan began to claim more of the spotlight. The song charted at #1 on iTunes in 7 regions and broke into the top 10 in 16 other regions. Music show wins didn't come yet, but the group was building a reputation as strong performers. The gap between debut and comeback may have been short, but the potential was clearly visible. RIIZE were actively escalating their identity after their hype debut. And in an industry where rookie groups often struggle to maintain attention after the first release, that mattered most. On the 22nd of November 2023, SM Entertainment announced that Sunghan would be going on hiatus. The statement was vague, citing personal matters, but the internet had already connected the dots. Pre-debut photos and alleged private conversations had surfaced online, sparking controversy among fans. Some defended him, while others demanded accountability. For a group less than 3 months into their career, the timing was brutal. RIIZE was in the middle of establishing their identity, and suddenly 1/7 of that identity was cracked. The group continued promoting as 6 members for a little, although the official exit didn't occur until October 2024, following a brief return. Sunghan had been a vocal presence, and his parts now fell to other members who had to adjust on the fly. SM's statement offered no timeline for his return, leaving both the group and the fandom in limbo. Moving into early 2024, RIIZE released Love 119, their first major project functioning as an active six-member unit. The song's title referenced the Korean emergency number, framing love as something urgent and necessary. It was a calculated pivot, one that aimed for the Korean general public rather than just the existing fan base, and it worked. Love 119 peaked at number 5 on the Circle Digital chart, RIIZE's highest charting position to date. The song gained traction on Korean music streaming platforms, crossing over from idol fandom into general listener playlists. The track earned RIIZE their first ever music show trophies on Mnet's M Countdown on the 18th of January 2024. Just 3 days later, they kept the momentum going by winning on SBS Inkigayo on January 21. Internationally, the song performed well, but not as explosively as previous releases. The softer sound didn't have the same viral potential as a saxophone riff of Talk Saxy or a guitar hook of Get a Guitar. But domestically, Love 119 solidified RIIZE's presence. From the time they debut in 2023 to 2024 awards season, RIIZE had swept multiple major awards, including MAMA, MMA, Seoul Music Awards, and the Circle Chart Music Awards. The accolades confirmed what the numbers already suggested. RIIZE had survived their first disruption and emerged stronger. 5 months after Love 119, RIIZE returned with their first mini-album RIIZING on the 17th of June 2024. The title track Boom Boom Bass marked another evolution in their sound. The bass line drove the track forward with a club-ready energy that felt designed for repeat plays and festival crowds. The production was cleaner, more refined, showing growth in their musical direction over the past year without abandoning the emotional pop foundation. The numbers validated the approach. RIIZING sold over 660,000 copies on its first day and crossed 1.25 million in its first week, becoming RIIZE's highest-selling release to date and their second consecutive million seller. More importantly, it proved they could maintain commercial momentum nearly a year into their career. A total of 5 music show wins came more easily this time, including wins on major programs like M Countdown, Music Bank, and Inkigayo. The performances evolved as well. Choreography became more complex and stage presence sharper. The group moved with the kind of synchronization that only comes from constant rehearsal and growing chemistry. By mid-2024, the fifth-generation conversation had solidified around a few key names. Zero Base One, formed through the survival show Boys Planet, had launched with a massive pre-existing fan base and consistently strong sales. Boy Next Door, under HYBE's subsidiary KOZ Entertainment, debuted with neighborhood vibes and a distinct sound that set them apart. TWS, from Pledis Entertainment, positioned themselves as the next generation of bright, idol-perfect performance groups. And RIIZE, the only SM representative in the conversation, carrying the weight of legacy while competing in a landscape that didn't care about history. The comparisons became inevitable. Sales data placed RIIZE consistently in the top tier. RIIZING crossed 1.25 million sales in its first week, numbers that matched or exceeded most fifth-generation releases. Boy Next Door's releases consistently charted well but didn't match RIIZE's volume. TWS had strong debut metrics but hadn't yet proven longevity across multiple releases. Zero Base One remained the closest competitor, with both groups trading positions in monthly sales rankings. Award show presence became another battleground. At major ceremonies, all 4 groups competed for the same categories. Festival lineups placed them side by side. Brand endorsements started rolling in, with RIIZE securing partnerships that indicated growing commercial value beyond album sales. They became ambassadors for luxury brands. RIIZE were competing to lead. And in a fifth generation crowded with strong debuts, that distinction mattered. The question was no longer whether SM could produce a competitive group. The question was whether RIIZE could define their generation the way their predecessors once has. On the 19th of May 2025, RIIZE released Odyssey, their first full-length studio album. The timing marked nearly 2 years since debut, a traditional milestone for K-pop groups, making the leap from singles and mini-albums to a complete artistic statement. The album contained 10 tracks, including pre-release singles Bag Bad Back, and Ember to Solar. With Fly Up serving as the title track. The production involved a roster of established K-pop hitmakers, including Jacob Aaron and Kenzie, signaling SM's investment in making the release definitive. Fly Up took RIIZE back to the bright, energetic sound of their debut, while incorporating everything they'd learned over 2 years. The track drew inspiration from 1950s rock and roll, using choral vocals as its signature hook rather than instrumental riffs. The numbers came immediately. Odyssey sold over 1.7 million copies in its first week, achieving the highest first-week sales of any K-pop release in 2025 up to that point. The album earned Circle Chart Million and Platinum certifications. In Japan, it received RIIZE Gold certification. Music show wins followed with a total of 4 wins on Show Champion, Music Bank, Music Core, and Inkigayo. This was the proof SM had been building toward: a complete album with strong sales and international success. RIIZE had graduated from promising rookies to legitimate forces in 5th-generation K-pop. On the 1st of May 2025, SM Entertainment announced RIIZE's second concert tour, Rising Loud. Following the success of their inaugural Rising Day FanCon tour in 2024, this new venture represented a massive escalation in scale, designed to support their first full-length studio album, Odyssey. The tour would span from July 2025 to February 2026, covering 35 shows across 10 countries in Asia and North America. For a group less than 2 years into their career, the announcement signaled both confidence and ambition. The tour would test whether RIIZE's fan base could sustain ticket sales across multiple continents, not just for a single show, but for an extended run. The journey began with a 3-night sellout at Seoul's KSPO Dome, starting the 4th of July 2025, before carving a path through Japan, Southeast Asia, and a North American leg that hit major hubs like New York and Los Angeles in October. Each show featured setlists that spanned RIIZE's entire discography. Reception was overwhelmingly positive. Shows sold out in major markets. Fan reviews highlighted the group's energy and technical precision. The tour proved something essential. RIIZE had proven they could deliver live. They could hold a crowd, and they could sustain a months-long tour without losing momentum. And they were doing it all within the first 2 years of their career, a pace that matched or exceeded most SM boy groups before them. The tour also reinforced their position in 5th-generation competition. While other groups released music and promoted on shows, RIIZE was building a global touring presence. The tour reached its fever pitch on the 13th of September 2025. Standing on stage at Tokyo's Yoyogi National Gymnasium, RIIZE dropped a surprise announcement. They would be returning to Japan for 3 special encore shows at the Tokyo Dome on February 21 to 23, 2026. The announcement sent shockwaves through the K-pop industry. Tokyo Dome isn't just another venue. With a capacity of approximately 55,000, it's one of the largest and most prestigious performance spaces in Asia. TVXQ holds the record for most Tokyo Dome performances by a Korean group with 33 shows. Big Bang performed there 16 times, Super Junior 10 times. These were groups with years of established success. To fuel the momentum toward the Dome, RIIZE signaled their return to the Japanese charts with the February 2026 release of All of You, unveiled as a pre-release single on February 9. The track serves as a sentimental, emotional pop anthem. It marks their first Japanese comeback in 17 months since their previous Oricon chart-topping debut with Lucky. By weaving a Korean I love you into the chorus of a Japanese single, RIIZE leaned into the cross-border appeal that has become their hallmark. As they prepare to take the stage this weekend, RIIZE is set to become the fastest K-pop boy group in history to reach that milestone, doing so just 2 years and 5 months after their September 2023 debut. The significance isn't lost on anyone. SM had built an empire in Japan through TVXQ and SHINee. Both groups had used Tokyo Dome as proof of their dominance in the Japanese market. Now RIIZE is following that path, faster than any SM boy group before them. SM stuck to the playbook that had worked for TVXQ, SHINee, and EXO. And RIIZE, the heirs to the SM system, are proving they can lead their generation. RIIZE debuted into an industry that had spent 7 years rewriting the rules while SM stayed silent. They carried the weight of a legacy, but they also entered a 5th generation that didn't care about history. 1.03 million pre-orders on debut, peak at number 5 on Circle Digital chart, Rookie of the Year awards, across every major ceremony. Over 1.5 million sales for Odyssey, the highest first-week sales of 2025. A 35-show world tour spanning Asia and North America. And Tokyo Dome in 2 years and 5 months, faster than any K-pop boy group in history. Each milestone answered a different question. Could SM still debut a polished group? Yes. Could they chart domestically? Yes. Could they compete in 5th-gen sales? Yes. And the real proof is in the pattern of their achievements. RIIZE followed the same path TVXQ, SHINee, and EXO had walked. And when executed properly, that approach could still produce groups capable of leading their generation. They showed that being an SM legacy group isn't a handicap in the modern era. In fact, that heritage is exactly what makes them such a powerhouse in the 5th-gen race. The 7th chapter of the SM story is still unfolding, but RIIZE has already made one thing certain. The legend is still very much alive. RIIZE dared to be bold, will you?